and we're ready to start the workshop, Ms. Vice Chair.
Okay, we're going to, at the last workshop meeting, we reviewed the director's job description, and if you recall, we prioritized the duties in order. And so I have that here.
Next page.
So, I just want, I'll pass this down so you can look at the order. And really all we didn't change any of the duties or essential job functions. We just put them in the prioritization order. However, one thing I wanted to call your attention to is that on a couple of job descriptions that have been either emailed, the job title is director. Tabitha was hired by Travel and Tourism in November 2012. There was a vote, and she was hired as our director. There have been some job descriptions that say host, and so I just wanted to clarify that for the record, that the job title is director. The department is Travel and Tourism, and this is the updated job description.
And you can orange and white from that.
Okay, sorry. We do have a separate job description for the host or hostess. And I have, the job title is Visitor Center Host, Department of Travel and Tourism. I have that as well. It's clearly much different than the director's job description. So just again, for the record, we do have two separate job descriptions, one for director and one for visitor center host. Both of these were revised in 2012, and then of course, last workshop meeting, we revised and prioritized the director's job description without changing any of the essential job functions. So I was going to open the floor if there's any discussion that needs to be had about these job descriptions. The visitor center host job description, you may recall also that that position currently is being filled by a state of Franklin employee. And the only difference
as of right now, that's who all volunteers will be in parking. That should keep me, feel free to come and go, get toilet paper up and down the line as they run out of the bathrooms. So I'm not expecting it. But the hours of operation, the reason why I don't think we should put anything in stone is because of the seasonality and also based on our hostess. It depends on their group effort as to how much they work, as to how many hours they're allotted the next cycle. Like right now, for 12 days, she has 82 hours. But the past cycle, she only had 50. And that did a lot because the snow days during that 50, a lot of people couldn't get to work. And so that allowed them to carry forward those hours into the next pay cycle. So if for some reason I had a week long where I might be out, we need to kind of be flexible with the opening and closing in case we don't have anybody there and somebody's willing to come and she couldn't be there. Like when I, let's say the marketing college, when I'm gone that week, if for some reason they only sign in 40 hours for 2 weeks, then she'd have to use that one whole week while I was gone, and if she got sick, we might need to close it. But the established hours, 8:30 to 5:30, I think we usually start that late April, early May.
Well, I think we should not make a decision. I mean, the reason that we made the decision to close was because we had to deal with the comp time issue. So, I mean, it may be that we decide to close because it's not busy, but I think maybe that's something that we just decide each year, you know. I mean, ideally, there's work to be done in January, February, to prepare for the season. change in the meeting start time, that we start at 2 o'clock with the workshop, and then the regular Travel and Tourism Authority meeting will start directly after 3 o'clock. So I've gotten those documents from Kim, and they're coming down your way, and if you can sign those.
Years.
Okay, just-
state.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we should limit ourselves. I mean, there may be a time when we need to hire a hostess that would be paid from Travel and Tourism Authority. This is saying State of Franklin worker, you know, as a section all its own. And it reads, the Graham County Travel and Tourism Authority Board will allow a State of Franklin grant funded position or a volunteer hostess position be allowed at the center and trained with the direction of the Travel and Tourism Board with the hours according to the guidelines as set forth by the State of Franklin or by the Graham County Travel and Tourism Authority Board. So, in my opinion, we just need to not limit ourselves to State of Franklin. I think there should be, in this Article 7, director, hostess, and we should clarify the State of Franklin worker. But I think that if we don't leave hostess in here, there could come a time we don't have grant funds and we need a hostess. So that was the only change that I saw. But let's make some copies of this and y'all can take it home, and then the next. You want the previous, this, apparently, this was adopted in 2013.
So what I'll do when I get back to my office, I will scan in the old one and the new one. Do y'all want them just mashed together, or do you want them separated out? But we can email some thought processes back and forth if there's changes to be made and what your thoughts and feelings are.
Well, I think it would be, I'm just gonna mark on this one, Tabitha, old, and put new at the top of this one, and then if you would do that, but do y'all agree with what I'm saying? Is oh no, I think we need to keep, I think we need to keep the State of Franklin in there, but what I'm saying, in the old,
Let's read that real quick, pass it down so they can look at it.
Just not to have that as the title.
Right,
Then maybe State of Franklin.
yes. Or we have the first one be director, the second one be hostess, and the third one be State of Franklin. I do think we need the State of Franklin in there because we are giving permission for that worker to be in the Travel and Tourism office.
right. The thing about it is, employ somebody here in this county, you know, so if it's income, we know that's up on that, we have somebody gets money.
I think it's on 2 pages, that page and the next one. I'm sorry, Billy. Yeah, I think so too. I just think that we took the hostess part out and just substituted it with the State of Franklin, and that just would limit us later on if we needed to hire a hostess that wasn't paid by the State of Franklin.
Right. Well, how long was we supposed to get this stuff?
They're usually 2 years, and you can, we've had them at the center, State of Franklin workers, and I believe it's 3 2-year terms, as long as you have somebody that's eligible. That's been, the biggest thing is to find someone that's eligible. But it's an awesome program for the, you know, the employee and, you know, whichever entity they're working for. So we'll just make copies and we'll email or Tabitha can scan them and email, and then you can give me your feedback via email, and then we'll just have the hostess put back in there. And if y'all find anything else, if you can let me know, or Connie, let us know, and then we can get that prepared for your next workshop. Okay, I think the last thing before we talk about the brochure, I've moved all around here, you guys, with the agenda, I'm sorry. So we've done the review, we'll finish that at the next workshop session. The director job description, the state Franklin staffing. The one thing that's also in that new resolution for the rules and procedures, it says that the state of Franklin employee will be trained and report directly to the Travel and Tourism Authority. And I think I get the legal language of that, but I don't think any of us will be training her. I think that's a job duty that Tabitha, as the director, should fulfill. I think that, she's basically serving as a hostess, just as when that hostess was being paid by Travel and Tourism. So you may want to look at that wording as well. In my opinion, she's at the visitor center and Tabitha's the director, and she should answer to Tabitha. Where she gets paid from is an administrative issue. So,
Tax, she had to tax. Is that what you said?
now I'm saying the state of Franklin employee,
Right. I thought, okay.
That's Kathy Wilson's idea.
You'll have the same training with the direction of the Travel Tourism Board. Training?
right, and that's what I wanted to clarify, is it says in the rules and procedure that this board will train.
Yes.
And that was another thing in that section that I just wanted to clarify, that, before the hostess reported to Tabitha as the director, and that makes complete sense to me. So, all I'm saying is that the only administrative task that should be done either by the board, or the county clerk is the hours, the submission of Kathy's hours to the state of Franklin. And I think Connie is signing off on those as well.
In your new set, it just says, training by the board. It doesn't say anything about her having to report those in this section right here. That may be helpful.
Well, there's nothing in the old one from the state of Franklin.
Grant County Travel and Tourism Authority will allow state workers with grant funded position or volunteer hostess position to be allowed at the center and train in the direction of the Travel and Tourism Board with the hours program guidelines set forth by the state of Grant County Travel and Tourism Board. That's all I'm saying.
Is that what we want to know about, say, Michael says? Okay.
Well, that just is in regards to the hours.
Okay.
I see what you're saying, Ramona. Well, I guess what my whole point is, the training needs to come from Tabitha.
Right, I mean, you had mentioned something about the social reporting to us, but it's not in here. Staffing does all that. Right?
Yes,
Maybe we just need to add that. Training.
trained and report. Okay, so any other questions about the state of Franklin?
What is, what is the state of this guy? Do they have a guy that said, what do you call it? Board governors, the director of the state.
They don't have a department. Basically, they are furnishing an employee as a grant-funded position, and that employee abides by the rules and regulations of whoever they're working for. It's just like any other employee.
Basically, the guideline is it has to be somebody that's qualified to
But the
That's
three
right.
hundred,
And so, yeah.
that's right.
That's right.
They have to
control the hours.
Yes, they can only have so many hours,
Right.
otherwise then we would have to pay for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are providing an employee, and they have the employee, just like if they were our own employee, has to abide by the rules and regulations of the employee. Okay, so the last thing before Tabitha goes over the brochure insert, just the handling of the minutes. And again, this is just some clarification because there seems to be some confusion. So Tabitha is our director, but she also serves as a secretary to this board. And she is responsible to make sure that the minutes are signed in Louis, from the previous meeting. And then she's also responsible to provide a copy of those to Becky Garland and the Finance Department, because So I just wanted to put that on the record as well, and if there's any discussion about that.
And that's in the bylaws of the.
As her duties as secretary. Well, I don't know if it's in the bylaws, but it's as her duty as secretary under the statute.
Where is that? You got a
So that's part of that board review that we wanted to do, a board orientation. We have a booklet that has all that stuff in there. We're gonna go over those things. So maybe you and Beth and Connie can get together and maybe have a lunch afternoon and go through that. And I know Becky Garland will probably be with you about 30 minutes as well to be sure that you're up to speed on everything.
And Billy, I apologize because we talked at the last meeting about getting together before this meeting to do that orientation, and I have that packet. And so if, after the meeting, I can give that to you, and then we can just maybe set a time to get together. I was the same way when I came on this board. I didn't know, about the bylaws either. So we'll get that information to you, and I apologize.
You got to say that you want to know that, stuff like that. Somebody's going to be accountable if something happens, you know.
Well, that would be us.
Yeah,
I completely understand.
yeah, I know.
Anyway, Vermont, what I was referring to was the resolution to establish the Travel and Tourism Board that was years and years ago. There is a provision in there about the secretary. And I just think it was just some confusion about, sometimes Connie would take the minutes, or sometimes somebody would get a copy of them. And if we just clarify that it's Tabitha's responsibility and us as the board director to do that, then everybody will have their copy, and if they don't, then we'll have one person that we need to ask about. So, the brochure insert review, Tabitha.
Okay. I just want to bring the board up to speed that I don't have a document to show you right now because I did not get to meet with Becky. I have met with Christy, and I have met with Nancy. But even Nancy, here at the end of the week, the email that I sent her, I have not heard back from her. And it's important that her and I get on the same page before I meet with Becky to get all of our ducks in a row. What I'm trying to show you, or what I'm going to be telling you about is, you guys are familiar with that report that you have here in front of you. For instance, taxpayer number 131 says one person's name on the far right-hand side. It says P. Buhazy Watershed. And 131 is Mr. Buhazy. And I don't know who 130 is. And actually, 130, if you're looking there, it's missing. And there's a few other things like that. If you'll just glance down through those numbers, I need my reading glasses, even like C-107 is missing. And even number 116, 17, 18, they're out of order there. And then there's like taxpayer 146, 153, 154, 155. I know some of those people, they're not renting out their houses anymore, nor are they on our website. But as far as finance, knowing who they are, and us knowing who they are, and trying to keep an eye out there on the VRBOs to be sure that just because they say they're not renting and we find them somewhere on the web, that we really know who all these people are. So as of right now, I have contacted all of the property management companies to find out if anybody came off their roster or if they're adding any new cabins, because some cabins have sold and people have decided to continue to rent. And then they've got property management, and there are a couple of them where they decided not to be with property Right.
I don't think we should be picking her spreadsheet apart until she can tell us what it really means. But it seems to me that after a certain period of time, that she's just taking them off the spreadsheet. And so that may be why we have some
missing
numbers. But if we, like when we get a new taxpayer, if they've been off the rolls for a long time, then maybe we just reassign that account number so we stay in some kind of sequential order. And there's no question as to what's happened to that number.
Well, I don't think she'll reassign an old number. I was waiting to see what you guys were saying.
I was asking about the Blackhawk trustee for certain business. I know that's what it changed to.
Right, but that is the old owners under 111, because the new owner is under 218. But so that one was left on there, not deleted, and so, just for my own knowledge, did she delete some?
So this is not something you have on your, you don't have an Excel spreadsheet this on?
I do, but they get payments almost every day, so I have to ask for an updated version whenever I want one.
Yeah, Becky handles this because this is the actual occupancy tax payment spreadsheet. And so the finance office has to collect the payments and post those payments. But I think when she is back at the next meeting, we can talk to her about how the numbers are, or, I don't need them in sequential order as long as it actually would be more helpful if we had an alphabetical order.
Well, you can sort, if you highlight
Right.
the whole sheet, you can sort by the,
Right, but we don't get the sheet, so what I'm saying is, if the number, except in this format, we don't get an email or, so if the numbers are just an internal device, as far as posting occupancy tax payments, I think it would just be, she could clarify, and I would venture to say that there are people that have not been on the rolls for a long time, and that's why those numbers are missing.
well, and just also for clarification, just so you guys, again, you gotta think audit, because that's what this is all about. We're trying to get brochure printed, we're trying to be sure that nobody's left off and nobody's been left out. So, there were some people, I've had 2 or 3 groups of people that have made me a list of people that they didn't think were paying. And what happens is that a taxpayer is paying under one number, but they have 3 cabins, and sometimes people don't realize that they have 3 cabins, and they are paying for all 3 cabins. So I think on each line, if somebody has multiple cabins, for instance, number 124, that has 2 cabins. But if I were let go of and die tomorrow, it just needs to make this easy to read for the next person and for anybody to pick this up without having to do all this work again. So that's why we're going to work on this just a little bit more. But I've really got to get this brochure insert done, and I am going to ask for the grace of the board that if within the next week and a half, if I can get this done, that I send you the brochure that will look like this. And I can even send you audit sheets if anybody wants to check. But that's the reason I'm hesitant. But right now, I have requests from every visitor center that needs our updated driver stuff. And we've got to get these things out. It's spring. People are traveling, they're picking up things. And so I was going to ask the board in a poll vote if you guys would allow me to, instead of waiting all the way for a whole month, or you can come into my office and take a look at it. But sometime in the next week and a half, I'm going to have to ask for you guys to vote on this so I can get the print.
Now, we pretty much already agreed on what you got, you're just updating the listing, right?
Yeah, but John was pretty insistent on him wanting to look at it. He's not here right now. So that's the reason why I'd rather just cover all of our rears and just, if somebody really wants the ability to look at that, I want to give him the ability to take a look at that.
Well, I think that we went through this quite a bit last year because it was the first time we had a brochure insert. And so just for proofreading and, you and Becky can get together with as far as who the people are and
Yeah, we have 8 cases, again, 8 cases that we've got to fold this insert into in order for us to be able to send these things out. But I did want to let you guys know that we've had some great additions to our owners.
Is that what I'm sorry?
That's okay.
All this money goes to Betty Hall and Betty Princeton Estate, right?
It goes into the general fund and the county cuts us money that we put
So we don't
into.
have any money to Estate Hall?
No, it goes directly to the county.
This is all documents.
Okay, I understand, who collects this if they're not paying the arrears?
Becky,
The
the
finance
finance
office.
So they're not paying, she's giving them a letter,
That's
and
correct.
if they still don't pay,
That's correct. And,
We're going to talk about that here in
Yes.
just a second.
But again, per the resolution to establish the Travel and Tourism Authority, it has to, that's why Becky has to be the finance
I
officer.
understand.
So on your report, just so you know, we have added quite a bit of businesses. There are 3 cabins under Huffman Creek Retreat called the Chestnut Lodge, the Hemlock Cabin, the Homestead, the Lone Duck Cottage is another one, Fontana Passion Lake Lodge, the Fontana Lake Lazy Elk Cabin, Paddlefin, and here's Darlene's, the Lake and Mountain Life Vacations, the White Oak Something Special, Water's Edge Lodge, and then we have removed Eaton's Rest, Stokoe Getaway, Han Lakefront, Tennell Lakefront, and Cabin on the Creek.
Okay, so back to the insert review. So Tabitha is going to get with Becky and update the listings and kind of do an audit of this sheet to make sure that we have the accommodation partners listed. And then she will email to us for proofing before it's printed. She's going to email it to us for a poll vote, is that what I understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what's the price on that? We use everything, come on board members too.
Well, I need to send out an updated bid for printers, but I think to get 4,000 of these done, it was about $350. Probably not, but we are also going to have to reprint the Cherry Hill Skyway brochure because we are down to our last case. But before we do that, I would like to see if any updates needs to be made on that. Grammarly and Marianne and Nancy, I think we should be able to handle getting the verbiage on that updated, or if there's some redundancy, just kind of get that. And then we'll send it out to both. Yeah, that's going to have to be reprinted as well. And I'm sure our maps, we have about 4 cases of the hunting and fishing. I think we'll be okay for a couple of months on that, but more than likely the roads to adventure map, but if it's in almost every gas station and every restaurant, we're probably going to have to reprint that, and that will go out for a printer. Get 3 bids to be sure we're getting the best pricing.
Councilman, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
If you want to email it to the board, proof it, why don't you just email it to everybody that's going to be on it? That way, they can look at it too. That's going to save you a lot of missteps later on. If you just want to show it to the board, and other people get missed in there, at least everybody's got a chance to look at it and then call you and say, hey, I'm not even on it.
Why, you got one of my cabins and not the other one. I ran into that a lot last
So just
year.
do a mass email and send it to all the lodge partners.
You guys good with that? Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
That way, they'll find their own mistakes and make you aware of it.
Like spelling, telephone number, and all those kind of things happened last year too.
And if they don't respond, then that's the problem.
Like, give a deadline. Okay. I'm good with that.
All right, so would this fall under advertisement and promotional?
It will be.
The printing.
We're down to around $800. And we still got April, May, June.
contingency money that will be transferred to go to the, we'll need to talk about the capital reserve and that, so. We'll be setting those today. I think it's on the agenda for the marketing committee and the budget workshop schedule. So it is 3 o'clock, and if the board doesn't have any other workshop business, I'd like to call to order the Travel and Tourism Authority meeting. You were sent, members of the board, the agenda to review and approve, and also the minutes from the last meeting. You may recall that we decided that we did not need to read all of those minutes. We were to review and do that prior to the meeting, unless there's anyone that has not read the minutes, or if there's someone that has changes to the minutes from the last meeting. We'll need a motion to approve the minutes.
Madam Chair, don't forget to approve the agenda, please.
I'm going to go do the minutes first, and I'll go back to the agenda. And Tabitha, do you have the minutes for us to sign?
There's 3 copies, and I'll have an extra little pen on each one of those copies. So were there any changes? I don't think I heard anything from anybody.
I didn't have any changes. So if everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes, is there a motion to approve the minutes? So here, I'm going to make a motion. Is there a second? Okay, Darlene, thank you. All in favor? Okay, so moving on to the agenda for this meeting, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor? Okay, so Becky is not here to give the financial report, but we have a handout here. So as a 228, you can see the total cash in bank, which is far above where we were this time last year. And then we have some, less the January, February transfer to capital reserve, and then, of course, our accounts payable, which are the bills that have to be paid in March. And so the total cash available for expenditures is $97,248.07. So again, far ahead of where we were last year. And I'm sure Becky, with you, she would want to point out to you that the total taxes So we have a positive variance there, the 21,403.38, and the capital reserve as of the end of the calendar year in December was 18,568.70. And then on the next page is our revenue and expenditure statement. This is our current period, year-to-date budgeted, and then the percentage used. And I believe on the last page, she gives us the, she always goes over that ideal remaining percent. So on the last page, she kind of summarizes that with our remaining percentages. So she's got the ideal remaining percentage at 34%. And we discussed the telephone, I think we voted on that. You can see on there that that's a negative 66%. So it looks like other than that we're very aligned with the budget, and we still have some things that, some expenditures to make, like the printing and other things, but it does look like we'll have some carryover for next fiscal year.
That's right, on the travel,
Sorry.
that's right, on the travel, minus.
See, under utilities, there's an item that says travel, and it's got $18
Minus.
deficit. What's that?
Well, unless there was nothing, but there's nothing, if you look at the far left-hand column under budget expenditure, there's nothing budgeted for travel. I don't know what the $18.68 is, but
But
the reason it's a negative is because there's no line item budgeted for travel. So it could be mileage reimbursement, we just have to ask Becky, but over in the far left-hand corner or side is our budget. That's what we budgeted. So you can see under travel, there's zero budgeted. So when you make an expenditure and you charge it to that account, it's gonna show up a negative. So, it's likely that towards the end of the fiscal year, we'll have to sign a budget amendment to take care of any issues like that, where we don't have, just like contracted services, you'll see, there's nothing budgeted there, but we have some of that, and so over on the right-hand side, there's $397.38. It's also in a negative.
we should not be, when we start the budget, we should not have contracted services in there.
Well, we have all of those categories, but we didn't, when we passed the budget last year, there was nothing budgeted for each of those. So it might be something that we discuss in budget workshop, just like we're gonna have to discuss the phone and other things, so that so remember last meeting, we had to sign a budget amendment for some things that were over in one category, and we had to approve that. So when we get closer to the end, and I know Becky can explain this so much better than I can, but I do understand that because there's nothing budgeted and then you have an expenditure that's posted to that account, that's why it's showing up in negative. It doesn't mean that that's not paid, it just means we paid an expense under that budget line.
Like if you're gonna have a category, you should have money in it.
I agree.
Then if you put it back, we put it back.
Well, and it could be too, under that contracted services, I'm thinking that, since we really don't have a lot of contracted services, that might be come under advertising and promotion.
These brochures are usually get printed out in the house, so I'm going to use the budget, postage budget.
There's a good possibility in the springs here now, and we do a lot, we get a lot of requests from the Minis on the Dragons and the other groups that are coming to the area. But, this should give you a decent indicator to find out if maybe, the online brochures helping some this year, but we have some carryover. And also with those leads, we're handling those leads a little differently. If they had an email, we're not sending them a brochure. We are forwarding them an invitation to be part of our newsletter that also has our brochure already attached to it. So that was part of that savings that, you know, it might really end up paying off in this year's budget. We're just going to have to sit. Yeah. And there was one other item that I have not been in contact, I've not been contacted by the Graham County, the Graham Star, but I did see in the newspaper this last week that they have already started soliciting advertisers, but they wanted to advertise in the annual I Love Graham County. I'm thinking on top of my head that this was in our budget. Last year we had a center spread. We're going to have a whole lot more people on there, so as we start designing, I just got to take a look at that budget again, make sure how much money we did allot to this before we go forward. But this will be coming to you guys through email as well.
But what's the deal with you not paying out the rest of that great grant match, y'all just taking the vision?
Well, because the tourism project is still going on, and right now the match is paying for the advertising for the announcement in the newspaper. And so then at the end of that, whatever the difference is, will be paid as the match. But right now, it was just the way that it ended up, instead of invoicing a one-time amount, it's just been paid advertising for the meeting announcement. And while we're on that subject, I know it's kind of out of order, but the next, it's the 5th of 6 meetings for the tourism plan, the Grand County Comprehensive Tourism Plan, and the next meeting is going to be on March 17th, which is next Tuesday,
place to stay. To be able to get that criteria, Fontana Town, had to meet certain things with laundry and ability to take showers and being able to pick up gear and ship gear out. So it's going to be a great thing for us. Spring break is started for colleges right now, all the way through past Easter. So you guys can expect a lot of folks coming through the area for spring break. And then in Western Carolina University has a designated tourism convention going on in April that I signed up for. So I just need the board's approval to go forward with those meetings for this month.
Well, and I'll make a motion that the meetings that you just mentioned are fun to attend. Is there a second? All right, Darlene, all in favor? Okay.
Thank you. Upcoming events for this coming month, on the 14th, 15th, Fontana has their Bass Classic Fishing Tournament. I don't know if this past weekend, it looked like a lot of people might have been here practicing, because I was up really early, like 5 o'clock early, and I counted 4 boats in town. It's usually ghost town when you come through town at that time, but I think people were here because they were heading your way, so they're either practicing or cheating. No, I didn't say that. The Chiola River will have another river release, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Fontana Village Resort has their Hyper Haze weekend on the 25th and 26th. The Appalachian Town Kickoff Celebration is March 26th. Easter, April 5th, with spring break activities. We are trying to get together an itinerary for church services and Easter egg hunts, sunrise services, and other spring-type activities for families to enjoy while they're here. And most of the lodges have activities going on site for their guests. Networking with other travel and tourism authorities, I spoke with Lynn Collins from Haywood County about occupancy tax collections and being able to put more, a bigger teeth into assessing and collecting the taxes. I met with Chip from Tax Management Associates, Irma Orr from the Tax Assessor's Office, and Tax Management Associates that are out of Charlotte. And this is a group that if, and again, we're going to be speaking to Becky about this more. She told me to get some more information to get back with her. It's a contracted company that they can do audit and assessment, and they get the letters out. They can have somebody even do a deeper search to find cabins that we don't have on our list. But it's a contracted service. You pay them X, and they do X amount of work for us of getting letters out. And so if for some reason we're having some issues in the finance office where other projects just keep getting in front of us, this is another avenue. This is what Haywood County did in order to get, they had a fourth of their folks weren't being compliant. So this allowed them to really increase their revenue stream and get it. Well, back then, the law allowed for a split of commission. And since they did this with them, the law has changed, and so you're not allowed to split commissions like that. It's a fee basis. And so what we would have to figure out, and after I talked to Becky, if we're going to do this in-house, or does she want them to do part of this for us, and then they can give us the fee amount once we decide what we need as a TDA. But they do this for, he was on his way to Alabama, he just met in Asheville, he's working with Haywood, he stopped in Jackson, and he stopped to meet with me on his way over to Tennessee and Alabama. So they have clients all over the place, but it's a group to help us make people be compliant with their taxes.
Okay, so now what I was asking a while ago about, well, who collects the money on his taxes? Now we're talking about agents of money, collecting those.
No,
Can they legally do an audit, I mean, a contract
well,
on an individual?
one one of the things that Haywood County had to do was they put together a resolution that gave, for us, it's Tualaga, our collector, more teeth, because right now there's nothing we can do, except send them a letter and wait for them not to comply. But if you know it,
It said she found before you can close down the website.
Okay, go to the website.
I have yet to hear back from many of the legal people from VRB area. I mean, why do they want to get rid of their clients? They just stopped. I've not been able to get any, I've had a couple people that have already asked to get the websites down, I've not heard back. So that's where I'm having a problem with legal at this point, with saying, here, you know, your customer's doing something illegal, I need you to take the website down, and I've not heard anything back.
But what's this gonna come in? It's going to be budgeted back in, back very small, payment system, no?
If, I just found out today that it was a fee versus, a split of whatever they collect, because I was looking at it, it doesn't cost anything, just whatever we collect, it was a fee. But because of the law, we can't do that, so, we're just gonna have to talk to Becky and find out if her staff can get these letters out, and then be able to do that back work of the back and forth that it takes to get people to be compliant.
But this money will come out of
It would, but right now she might be able to just do it.
Yeah, I think that it's just something that we table, I mean, it's great to bring it up, but it's not
the,
anything.
we talk about this.
I think Tabitha's got to talk to Becky, and then if we were to entertain the idea of hiring someone from the outside, that we would talk about that in our budget workshop or our regular workshop meetings.
It's not even, we talked about it. I mean, it's like Barry said, what gives this bunch the authority to come in and audit what businesses are doing?
Well, they're just, they're a contractor, but they would not be, only Tawana is the one that is the collector. She has the license to be able to do that, so it does have to come through her, but they're the ones that do a lot of the paperwork pushing and getting the paperwork out, which is where we seem to be having some issues, because just some things keep coming up in the county, and, you know, this is extra money. I just don't know how much of a priority. And it's nothing against the finance office. I love them to death. We work great together. But if somebody can't, if you've asked and asked and asked and they can't do it, then we've got to look for another solution and get it done. Like we hired Mary Ann. It freed me up from social media. We hired a contractor. All I'm saying to the board is that just, if they can't get it done, there is a possibility of a contractor to help us get this accomplished. Because it really, during field visits, it made some people upset that their next door neighbor is renting their house and they're not being forced to be compliant. You know, so they're less than what they are, and, you know, that doesn't make you very competitive. But yeah, I think this resolution thing, I did have to want to take a look at this. I was not able to meet with Becky and then take it to Greg and then take it to the lawyer. But this resolution does give you the ability, if it's a private ownership, to put some liens against properties and things of this nature. That right now we don't have anything like that. If it's a business, we're pretty much, there's nothing you can do.
I've talked to Becky, what she said she can't do and all. But the state can, because they're not paying the state, they're not collecting state taxes, and they're not paying it. The state and the federal government can do audits. It's first time I've ever heard of a contract.
Well, that's the great thing of having these relationships with other travel and tourism, is if they've been successful at something, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you just duplicate their effort. And so this is what Haywood County did, and their collections are up by about 20%. But again, just an introduction to a contracted thing. It's not that we're doing anything, it's the introduction of the concept. Since we're in the finance section here. Okay?
Again, I think it's just something we need to talk to Becky about, and I know that the occupancy tax collections compared to a couple of years ago are, I mean, you know,
promotion. The next promotion is going to be the 2-lane tourism, and then following that is going to be the 10 best selfie spots in Graham County. I talked with Mr. Matheson earlier today, and he is going to allow me to work with the high schoolers on the selfie promotion to see if they can come up with some cool hashtags and titles that the selfie part might not be able to be as creative. I mean, that's kind of their whole thing is selfie and hashtags, so we're going to work with them a little bit. We're trying to add a birding site to the North Carolina Birding Trail. It's called the Yellow Creek Mountain Trail, and it's the northern border of the Yellow Creek IBA. And IBA, I think that stands for Important Birding Area. But it is designated by a large bird group like the Audubon Society, so that's another thing we're trying to do. As far as staff and volunteers, Kathy is learning some new skills on the computer with database entry and copy and paste. She has worked on her phone skills. She has learned how to work the postage machine and copier with all the different feeds and jams and things that you have, and how to get the fax in, how to get it to email. So she's kind of right on with her skills there. And she's also continuing to clean out the old brochures from the office and get the new updated brochures in for the season. We do not have any volunteers as of yet, but I did go give a program to the 875 ladies group and talk to them about tourism, what the tourism office does and how they can assist us. So we might be able to get a few volunteers out of that. As far as group travel and tour operators, tripinfo.com did share Fontana spring activities in their past newsletter, so maybe that will bring in some extra business from some groups. And then again, like I explained, the leads that we're getting, we're inviting them to join our newsletter via email. Reports, finding stats, in your packet. After the minutes, you should have a sheet there. That is your promotion sheet. You guys should be familiar with these numbers because of the promotion that we gave, the speech that we gave last time. So again, this is just Facebook. This was all we were able to get into some stats. We were all a little tight on time. The first promotion that we did was those tiny houses, floating houses, tree houses. So you see the numbers there. The second promotion that we did was the Cheel River Bridge, and those are pretty much what we're going to call the final numbers. And then right now, what you're seeing 3 columns worth is the Spring Break Easter promotion that's currently going on. 6 hours into the program is column 1, and then column 2 is 9 hours into the program, and then the third column is today at about 12:30. So far you got a reach of 4,738 people with post clicks of 386. And the interesting thing to me in the like, shares, comments section, we have 8 comments right now. One of those being, I will be there in August, and that is from Beaverton, Michigan. So again, these are translating into people that are not just saying, ooh, how beautiful, but it is translating into travel to our destination. And again, the best number to me is that bottom number shares, because when you get your post shared, that's how it gets into other people's feeds, and then it gets to be seen by more people. And that's what makes the post go viral. So as of right now, we've got 34, and this was just posted on the 11th. So you can see the tiny houses, it took 71 shares in order to get up to that 14,000. So I am hoping to get a few more shares. Any of you that have friends out of town, it's important for you to even share our posts so that your friends from out of town might think about coming here and going on vacation. And that's also an important thing for anybody that is an accommodation partner or a retail business to be sure that they like Graham County Travel and that they're liking, commenting, and sharing the things that we have there so it gets out to our people. So that is your statistics as far as the Facebook promotion. And if you'll flip over one, this is your updated sheet for all the different statistics that we have on all the different platforms. So when you get back, you can compare the sheet to your Google Analytics. All the numbers, of course, are going up. talked about how you want to keep that under 50. But what is happening with this promotion is that we are having people click from Facebook to the mini post that we have about this item. So they're getting the information they're going off. So right now, as we're transitioning through some of these posts, people are just going to get that information and reading. So our bounce rate is going to travel up just a little bit while we're working through some of these promotions. But that's okay because we know that's the intent and target of what we're looking to do. Some other things on here, our Facebook likes as of March 2nd were 5653. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they're up above 6,100 right now. So the increase in the budget there has dramatically increased our Facebook likes. Some other interesting things here, the leads and referrals down there at the bottom of the sheet between January and the end of February. Guess West had 786 leads that it produced from the $420 amount of monies that we spent there. The Southern Living, even though that ad was quite a long time ago, it is still producing leads from us. So from January to February, we had 22 leads there. And even tripinfo.com, which is the person we paired with for group travel, had 59 people engaged, and year to date we have 501 click-throughs on that campaign. As of the first part of the month, we only had a couple of cabins. We've updated some more events. We've had a field visit where I announced Hope Lodge for the Chihuahua release. That was very successful. They ran out of some of their food, and they were not expecting that many people. Robinson said that there were 300 kayaks in attendance for the snowy, icy Chihuahua River release. And just so the board knows, it might, hopefully it won't happen too much more, but in case of inclement weather, I do have my desktop so I can work from my home. In case if there's bad weather making it where I can't get into the office, or if the county closes the offices, I'll have that ability to work from home. I did want to, from the building company standpoint, I went to see J.R. Rogers, and we went from one end of town all the way down to the other end of town, and he showed me what was available and who owned and who he thought would be willing to sell and who wouldn't be willing to sell, and he thought it would be a good idea if you and I came up there together to take a look at what's available and kind of just get us going in the right direction. No lease, no sale. They didn't want to play with us. The president and Georgia said no. And Pam Schaefer will tell you. No, they were not. They changed their mind at the end and they said no. Yeah, so that's not a viable option.
One of the things that I think will come out of this comprehensive tourism plan process is the desperate need for a visitor center. And, to have an attractive place that has public restrooms and, office space that's adequate for the director and the hostess to work in. So I think that that's going to be a topic of discussion, not only at the budget workshop, but also, the marketing plan that we're going to begin working on as the marketing committee. So it probably would be good to just kind of regroup in the budget workshop, and if we're going to set that as a priority in the next 1 to 3 to 5 years, whatever Well, I mean, the main thing is you've got to find a place to put it. I mean, whatever, if it's a caboose or a building or whatever it is, we've got to have a place to put it. You know, that has adequate parking. And so we're just going to have to really look around and kind of figure out some locations. I know that, I'm not sure which meeting it was, but the location down right here, this little, I guess it was an idea about it being a pocket park, but I don't know who owns that or.
Yeah, there was another one right across from the point of reference and the building inspector, because that was supposed to just
Just,
be
yeah,
parking.
right.
And I thought that would be great, right along the river. Supposed to have parking and picnic tables and steps into the creek.
Well, I think, you know, it might just be a good idea for us to kind of look around at some locations and then we can do the digging on the phones if they're interested in selling the property or leasing it. One thing, if you have caboose, you can just take your caboose from place to place. Okay, so is that all for the director's report?
Yes, ma'am. Somebody told me today too that Carolyn Snyder's place was $300,000 right now. That's almost half of what she originally put it out there for, I think. Yeah, that old push plug. Okay.
Where he's at is a great location.
So yeah, lots of parking. And if it's not, it would be updated really easy for any kind of building like that, commercial building. Make it look like a log cabin, put a facade roof up there to make it look more travel touristy.
Around the porch out.
Yeah.
And the park is not too bad, they're working on the side.
Options, options.
I think it's just a title, I'm saying, but on the weekend, I'm sure that it's somewhere in the park, like, you know, and then that's not, you know, that was something that they got to do. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm listening to you, I'm not sure where you're talking about.
Yeah, but you and I think we should go up to, because there was some things that I thought were even better than what we're talking about right now.
John Clark.
In the grand scheme of things, there's some kind of really exciting things I want to show you.
Well, maybe if that's something, are you on the building committee?
She's
Your
the
chair.
chair.
Maybe that's something y'all could do, and then when we start doing our budget workshops, we could discuss, I'd be glad to try to find out information, on what's for sale and not for sale. And if we just had some ideal locations, and then we could really investigate it as to, what, if there are any issues, is it a floodplain?
I thought we were going to get the Andes looking for some grants, because before we can approach these people, we have to have some money back up our own.
They're going to say tap things for those grants too, which I haven't had, but there's not really a lot of things out there anymore, not like there was 2 years ago when we were thinking about trying to build something like the Cherokee Visitors Center on the Tennessee side. There was lots of money flowing that, but it's not, it is as available as it once was 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, old and new business, board members are willing to serve that term. Okay. So we can talk to Connie about that. Again, that's April the 2nd, those terms are up.
Do we need to go ahead and make a motion to nominate or?
Yes.
We need to
So we're
work.
gonna things into Kim, but we can't nominate here. But, and Kim said there's calls after hours up to her place as well.
That's Karen, and it's Commissioner.
Well, we can nominate anybody, and the board members can nominate, we don't take a vote, but you can nominate, and then any member of the public can also nominate. So I'll just go ahead and say that I'd like to nominate Darlene for another term.
And I thought they may only for the term if she did for a
Yeah, and I don't know if she's
Because
the,
we have to have a commission on it.
we do have to, the chair has to be the county commissioner. I've not been able to talk to her, and she's not here, so, that's what I was saying, is that, since she's not here, I don't know, if she is planning to serve another term, but, certainly, the nomination is recorded.
And then I'll go ahead and log anybody, if anybody has any other nominations, I'll log those and give those to Kim.
Well, as bad as I regret it, in a lot of ways, I feel like with the changes in Fontana, we do need a representative over here, and chatted with Anchor South about it. Darlene has done a phenomenal job for Fontana. And we know the changes that have occurred, and with the new team over at Fontana, they want to bring a lot to the Travel and Tourism Board. So I'm willing, should it be that you would want me to sit back on the board, I would take the seat. So,
Okay.
So for the record, you're nominating yourself.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so we have a nomination for Jeannie Stewart.
Anyone else?
Okay, we'll move on to the next issue or business. Our annual partner meet and greet. You'll recall that we had the first one of those last year in June. The purpose of the meet and greet was one, that we had never had one, where the accommodation partners could meet the board members and vice versa. We also presented the draft budget at that meet and greet. I just wanted to put that on the radar, that we need to have another one of those. It was held at Stowe Valley Center last year, and we could have it at an alternate location, but we will need to be planning that, and decide a date for that. Likely, once we kind of know what the budget workshop schedule is and how many of those meetings we need to have, then I do think it's important to present the draft budget to the accommodation partners, so they have an opportunity to comment on the budget before it is put before the board to adopt. So,
Madam Chair, the dates, right now, if we were thinking May, June, just kind of keep in mind, it's the 25th through the 29th, that's the last week in May, Monday through Friday, or the first week in June is going to be the 1st through the 5th.
Is that not one of the biggest weekends for you guys?
Yeah, I'm just saying that week, maybe later in the week, but again, last year we did it.
Earlier in the month, earlier in May.
Well, we have to have the budget done before we meet with the partners.
last year we did it in June, and so what are the dates in early June?
That's the 1st through the 5th, is the Monday through Friday in June. And last year, I think it was the 2nd or the 3rd or the 4th that we did it. We had a budget done, and we were able to present it.
I recommend maybe that first week in June, somewhere in there, and let the accommodation partners get over the board.
Yeah, and then it also has to lay for 10 days, 10 business days after the budget's approved.
Okay, well, we'll tentatively look at the first week of June, and then once we start having our budget workshop meetings, and we'll know, last year we had like 5 or 6, and I think, all of the members except Billy were present for those, so I anticipated that we won't have to have as many. And again, with the visitor center and some other things, I think the budget
marketing things that we need to review.
Well, we can, but I don't want to set a meeting with half the people aren't
Could we,
here.
could we email out some?
Yeah,
things?
oh, I think that we do that before the last meeting. I'm just saying that there's nothing else to report other than.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think it's important that we have that committee meeting. Actually, Connie had asked me to have it prior to this meeting, but, with the snow and.
Rains.
All that, it just didn't happen, so, we'll get on to that. But yes, it will be by email. I'm just saying I don't want to set a date today without them being here today. So as far as the budget workshop schedule, last year we met on, I believe it was Tuesday mornings, and we met at, the Grant County Extension Office in their meeting. Does that work for the board members? Tuesday morning around 10 o'clock?
It's going to
We
take
just have to call.
Well, I can call and see if it's available, but, whatever the location, even if we meet in the Travel and Tourism Office, if that's what we have to do, does Tuesdays at 10 o'clock work? And are y'all okay with, we did it weekly, did we not, until we got the budget done? So, if we want to plan on doing it weekly, and we can, see if that schedule works for us.
It's going to do, it's going to do.
I'm fine. Ron, I'm sorry, while you were out, we were talking about setting a budget workshop schedule. And last year, we did it Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock at the extension office, and if that's available, but otherwise, we'll have it weekly on Tuesday at 10 until we're finished.
And then last year, I recommend that you start on the 24th, since you're traveling on tourism, 5 of 6 meetings is that Tuesday night, and then you have a meeting before the meeting with Chris Kavanaugh.
Yeah, but that's an evening.
Yeah, but we be able to work that in with your other aggressive grant schedule.
Well, I guess
Okay.
well, we could, instead of this coming Tuesday the 17th, we could go to the 24th. Do y'all want to start on the 24th with the budget workshop? So March 24th at 10 o'clock, I'll call extension and make sure the meeting room is available, and if it's not, I'll email you an alternate location.
Health department has that high school building, United Community as well.
So we'll just agree that starting on March 24th, we'll start our budget workshop meetings at 10 a.m., tentatively at the extension office, and then we'll hold those weekly until we have a draft budget. Okay, is there any other old or new business? Okay, our next meeting is Thursday, April 9th, and we'll be back here at the community center, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So,
Second?